Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to have conversations with diverse people and communities that are impacting lives positively and as well celebrate positive news, people and places all across Africa and the world. Yes, this is me, Dr. Kemi Akiode Adebayo, known as Dr. Mama K, and in today's program to share a story is the creative, focused, hardworking. I only met her not too long ago, but I feel I've known her for forever. Let me get her proper names right in this sequence. She's Miss Maria Gakenye Kimotho. She is an Afrocentric musician and vocalist and a master's student at the University of Cape Town, South Africa. Maria, welcome to Impact Africa. How are you today first?
I'm very well, Mama K. Thank you so much for inviting me to your program.
It's a pleasure, and I love your hearing. You always wear all this hearing. When I met you, I remember now. It was your hearing that I was fascinated with in the first place. Now you're wearing an elephant?
Yes.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Thank you
I'm
so
going
much.
to borrow some of them at some point. So tell me, that name, Gakenye, where is that from and what does it mean? Where were you born?
Okay, so I was born in Nairobi, Kenya, although I'm not from Nairobi. My name Gakenye is from my local mother tongue, which is Gikuyu. I'm named after a jewel, a traditional necklace that was worn by young women. It was called the Ikenye. So my
named after no wonder. You see, now I'm making the links with the names.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So my ancestor used to like wearing the Ikenye, and so people began to nickname her after the jewel. They called her Gakenye.
Okay.
When you grow older, it changes and becomes Nye Ikenye.
I see.
Yeah.
So family, life in Nairobi as a Kenyan, and I know, this is a fabric, from Kenya. So tell us about all that.
Sure. I think life in Nairobi, or even let me just speak broadly about Kenya. Life in Kenya is very big and diverse. There are so many different people. It's not a very big country, but there are very many people in Kenya, and there are very many different cultures, and it's so much diversity. For example, with this, we have the Maasai shukas or the Kikois, which are mostly worn by the people of the Maasai community.
Right.
Coincidentally, also people from Uganda, of the Baganda community, are well known for
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
so there's a similarity between Uganda and
okay. And that, although they're very different cultures. So it's like what is it? It's like when they come together, the different cultures marrying together. Yeah.
Okay.
I come from a very big family.
Like me?
Yes.
Tell me, what position are you? 9. What position are you then?
I'm number 3 out of the 9.
Oh, okay. So you're somewhere up there. I'm number 1 out of 13.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Yes. So that is also quite common, where you'll find there are a lot of larger families back that side. As I said, there are many different cultures. So there are about 44 languages in the country, and that features very broadly in the popular culture of the people. You'll find that we mix our languages a lot. We speak English and Kiswahili, but among the young people, we have a mix of Kiswahili and our local languages, which we call Sheng.
Sheng. How does that one sound?
It's like Kiswahili but slang. It's actually frowned upon by the older generations.
I think that's like the pidgin we have in Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay,
but
so it's like a slang, but
by younger people.
What do you call it again?
Sheng.
Sheng. I didn't know that. I was in Kenya for the first time this year, and I loved it. Now Kenya, in terms of Africa, is my number 2 after South Africa. Sorry, Nigeria. Nigeria is where I'm born, but in terms of everything else, so South Africa, Kenya, it used to be Ghana number 2, but now Kenya is so advanced in terms of technology for me, and I just love the place. So from a big family, schooled obviously,
I studied in Nairobi and out of Nairobi.
Okay.
I went to boarding school for much of my life, which is very common among people in Kenya actually, because the education system favors that kind of, it favors boarding school education, especially in high school, because the government funds a lot of the public schools and the school fees is subsidized. So you'll find that it's easier, it's cheaper for people to go to boarding in high school. And it also provides a certain kind of environment. I think that's what people generally think is a better state for people to learn. And the education system is like very, very hard. It's so difficult, but it really prepares you well, because when I came to South Africa, I felt like I was very well prepared to join the university level. Yeah, it did not feel as much of a struggle as I thought it would be. And I thank that to the education system that we have in our country, which is very
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So before we come to you coming to South Africa, as a Kenyan, what are you mostly proud of your country?
Okay. I would say the diverse cultures is one of the things that I'm proudest of, because despite the fact that I can say I am a Kikuyu speaker, I wouldn't say I'm a Kikuyu speaker, but I identify as a Kikuyu. I am more proud to be a Kenyan in the sense that I can relate to so many cultures. Growing up in high school, we would sing songs from different communities at the music festival, so it allows you to appreciate different cultures.
Right.
Interacting with so many different people from different communities. Our musical cultures also feature that diversity in terms of culture. You'll find styles like Benga, which are inspired by the people of the Luo community.
Okay.
You'll find the coastal music, which is very rhythmic, is what inspires styles like the Kapuka. And it inspires a lot of the local popular music.
Okay.
You'll find that the way people sing and the way people harmonize music is also brought by the diversity of like the combination between traditional and Christian music, which is also another plane of diversity. So I really love that about Kenyans. And Kenyan people are also like very friendly, very warm, very open.
I completely agree.
And very talkative. They're very bubbly and very loud. So I really enjoy that.
I think Kenyans and Nigerians, we have a lot of similar.
That's true.
I think so. We are loud, we're friendly, we're warm, and and I think that was probably why for me I felt at home, you know, when I was there. So now let's go to South Africa. What brought you to South Africa? I know you're currently studying, you know, anyway.
Yeah. So
let's know what you're studying. That long word that I'm scared to pronounce.
Yes, so currently I'm studying ethnomusicology
and
African Studies at the University of Cape Town.
Right.
I did come to Cape Town for the first time in 2019 to do my undergraduate, which I did in jazz studies.
When? 2019. Okay.
Yes. So I did come here to study jazz.
Okay.
That is because I came from Kenya, where I was studying a bachelor's degree in music.
Okay.
And I decided to come and begin again here. The reason I came here is because South Africa has a very rich culture of music. And it's rich because of the history of the people. So I find that that link between the history and the passion that they have for music makes the culture very rich and diverse. Some of also my greatest music influences come from South Africa. Okay. And to be honest, before I came here, I did not know how important it was for me to be here. Right. Because I think that if I went any other place, I would not come to appreciate what it means to be an African musician as much as I appreciate it now. So coming here for me is getting that richness put into me, and I really appreciate that all through my journey here. Also, so jazz, you see, I can't pronounce it. Ethnomusicology. It's not that bad, is it? But it sounds so. Okay. So why music? When and how did you get into music and wanting to learn about African, studies, and then, starting a group? And, where do you guys perform? What's the name of the group? Okay. Share, please. Okay. So to begin with, where I began with music, I think I've always loved music. And I think that's very common for us African people. Yes. It's very common. It's like part and parcel of our culture. So growing up, I listened to a lot of music. My mom sings a lot. My grandmother sings a lot. There's also church music because it forms a very big part of like the lives of people in Kenya is the church life. So there's also that. But to be very frank, high school is a place where I fell in love with music. And it is because of the Kenya music festivals. So so the Kenya music festivals are a very big deal, especially for high school and university students. And that is why I came to explore music deeper. I also studied music in high school, part of KC.
Oh, really?
Part of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, which also brought me to that life. But when I truly decided to do music is when I realized how much power that music has to inspire people, how much power it has to bring people together, different people, because of shared experience and common knowledge, And I think that music has the power to inspire social change. And because I see that in how it played a very big role in the struggle here in South Africa and how it brought people together, how it allowed them to fight for their freedom, and not just physically, but also through their words, through their vision, through their feelings, I think that music has that power. And that said, I came here to South Africa, interacted with different musicians, especially back at campus, and I realized that I really want to be a part of this. So I started my initiative, which is the Sauti za Africa. Southeast Africa is the sounds of Africa.
Sounds of Africa. So what's the language? Which one is the sound?
Southeast Africa.
What language?
Swahili now.
Ah, that's Swahili. Okay.
So I also speak Swahili, which is a very common language in Kenya, much of East Africa actually. So Southeast Africa, an embodiment of the sounds of Africa. Just as I said, we have very diverse musical cultures, and actually coming to South Africa is when I realized just how different they can be. Because I got to study music from Southern Africa, I got to study music from West Africa, music from North Africa, music from all the regions of Africa. And I'd say the one that really sparked like curiosity in me is Ethiopian music, because I had never listened to Ethiopian music before, and Ethiopia is right above Kenya, you know. So it's literally right at home.
That's interesting.
But I had never come across that music to that depth. So I feel like because of that diversity of music and the different roles that music has played in all these places, I found myself interested in being a part of this narrative. So together with Southeast Africa, which is my band, we have a group of different people.
Okay.
Different people from South Africa. Some people are from Eastern Cape, some people are from here in Cape Town. And then there's also me who's from Kenya. So we are a good representation.
A good mix of the diversity of Africa.
Yes, and we are also very different musicians. All of us have studied jazz,
awesome.
But we envision ourselves as different musicians. So the music that we play is a combination. I would say it's Afrocentric, but I would like to call it better as Afrofusion. So
Right.
we fuse African characteristics of music with jazz. And why jazz? Because I think jazz is the purest form of musical expression.
I agree. I never used to like jazz before.
Yes.
My husband is a jazz fanatic. But when we married, I used to go, what's that music? I didn't understand it.
Yes.
But I think as I've grown older, I'm just like what you've just said. It is just unbelievable. You know, if you don't like jazz or don't, trust me, you will love jazz, especially when somebody like, I've heard you listen and I've heard some of your sound. So let me go now to, you know, you write your own songs as well.
Yes.
What inspires you and where do you guys normally perform?
Okay, so for my music, I would say I'm inspired by the stories of my life and the stories of other people's lives.
Right.
And I think this is also another important component of Southeast Africa, is telling the stories of African people, telling the stories of African musicians, you know, sharing that power, sharing that knowledge, because some of these stories, they hold a lot of history. I also forgot to mention my band members' names.
Please, go ahead. And what they play.
Yes,
okay, go on.
We are a 5-piece band,
okay.
or 5 or 6 piece, depending on how you look at it. We have 2 players on the piano.
Okay.
One of them is a lady called Emma Kuhn, and the other is a man called Ludomo. Then we have Gashwin Pipers on the bass, also from Cape Town. Emma is also from Cape Town, and Ludo is from the Eastern Cape.
Right.
And then we have Sastrin Martin, who's from Fishhook. He plays the guitar.
Awesome.
And we have finally on the drums Josh Roylofse. Josh is a very good drummer, very, very good drummer. Also from here in Cape Town, Mitchell's playing. And then we have me on the vocals. And sometimes we have different African drummers.
Okay.
Sometimes we have, so I don't want to mention because they're constantly changing, but we always have a component of African music within the band. And if we don't, we just put it in through the other instruments and even through my singing.
Right.
Yeah. So.
But where do you guys perform?
Okay. So.
And as well, you know, for me as well, what are some of the challenges for you as a band, as band members, especially if you're saying you're all students and still, you know, got, you know, your hands in all the things. So you are professionals, but at the same time, still students.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So for starting with where we perform right now. We've been performing in Cape Town.
Okay.
Different regions in Cape Town. We performed in Observatory, in Armchair Theatre. We've performed in Selective Live, which is in town. We've performed at the University of Cape Town,
right?
At the College of Music. We've performed most recently at the Blue Room, which is also in Cape Town. And very soon, that is next month in September, we're going to be performing at Jazz and the Native Yards, who will be hosting us in the Athletic Club and Social. So that's something to actually look for.
I can't wait. I can't wait to come and watch. You know, and that's why I'm asking, especially with September being Heritage Month.
Yes.
And this is part of all what we're doing to promote, you know, the diverse heritage in South Africa and the influence of other nationality. I know we're kind of going into the break, but I want to hear some of the challenges, for you as a group,
Yes.
and how you've managed to overcome them.
Yeah. So I'd say the biggest challenge, the foremost challenge, I suppose, is putting yourself out there as an artist.
Right.
It's one thing to call yourself a musician, and it's one other thing to go and put yourself in front of people and share this art with them. That is not something easy, and it's not something we take lightly. I believe it takes a lot of consistency, and it takes a lot of passion. And that's what we're trying to work up to as a team, since we've not been together for too long. Second would be the fact that we're both students and we're also professionals. That is not easy. Being a jazz student at UCT, I know it might sound easy for somebody who does not do music, but it takes a lot. We do about 9 courses in a semester, and half of them are practical courses.
Right.
So you have to put in a lot of different times. You have to really split your time properly to be able to cover all the work well, and still have time outside of that to be a practicing musician. So it does take a lot of discipline, and I really appreciate the fact that my team members are also very disciplined people. The biggest challenge I would say we face is that of trying to make a living out of this music. It is a beautiful art, but it is quite sad because the value does not equal the reward. At least from financial,
yes.
And we have these people who are trying to make music our main source of income, our main source of livelihood, and that is not easy at all. So me as a band leader, that puts me in a position where I can't just think about the passion of the music. I have to start looking at things from a point of a business. Yeah, which is also not easy. It's a big challenge. I find that I've had to learn so much about how to run a business, how to brand, how to market. And those are things which I appreciate, yes, but they're still not easy. And I would honestly say that it's something that is so much needed in the world of arts, where musicians and other artists are also like taught to think outside of just being artists. How can you be able to turn this art of yours into a form of living, that you can be able to make a meaningful income with your art, despite the fact that you want to make it, just about the sharing, and it can also be something that gives you benefit. Yeah.
So what are you mostly proud of? And we'll go on the break shortly.
Okay.
What are you mostly proud of in terms of what you've achieved, either as a person or as a group?
For starters, I would say as myself, I'm very proud to say that I graduated out of jazz school this year.
Right.
In March. That was not an easy journey. It really is not an easy journey, because when I came to Cape Town, I did not know jazz. So I came and learned jazz from the start, and I came and I completed it successfully. And I also managed to record an album while I was at university, which was also a very big step for me in my career, because that was literally when I was starting out. So I just decided to put myself out there and to share my stories and to share the stories of other people who've inspired me through my music. And I would say for Southeast Africa, the biggest achievement we've had is having the opportunities to perform in different spaces together.
Right.
And having an opportunity to grow together, because working in a group of such people, you learn so much from each other. You realize how much there is to learn, and that is something that I would call an achievement, coming with all this growth. And let me see if I can think of something else. Oh, thank you. Thanks to my group, thanks to Southeast Africa, they assisted me with an audition that I did earlier this year.
Okay.
Yeah, for the Artscape Theatre.
Awesome.
And I was selected as part of the soloing team.
Ooh, that's awesome.
The Artscape Youth Jazz Series that took place this year in June at the Artscape Theatre.
So that's a teamwork, being behind you and, say,
really
we're here,
supported
we're
me.
supporting you as a vocalist, there's all that.
Yes.
You know what? We'll be right back. Wow, Maria, born in Nairobi, into music from an early age. Your mom, your grandmother sing from a big family. Came to South Africa to study jazz initially, and then now doing your masters, you know, and have a group, you know, Saudi, the Africa, sound of Africa. So for you, what are the 3 things or people or whatever that you value most in life, and why?
I would say, for starters, peace of mind, which in the past I found is more important than very many other things. I would also say living a life that is full of purpose.
Right.
By that I mean being able to use your work for something meaningful, leaving an impact in somebody else's life or even in society. And the third thing I would say is living life to the fullest.
You love living life. Yeah. It's just about life.
Yes, life is short.
I completely agree.
I think I'm in love with life.
And that's good.
Yes.
I hope you guys are hearing. So just all the 3 things, more or less, is about life.
Yes.
And like you said, life is short.
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose that, you know, like experiences, I think like the worst experiences in my life have taught me that life is beautiful. My experiences with grief and loss have taught me to value life, to value people in life.
Right.
Because you're not going to be here forever. Life is fickle. You're going to be here one day, the next day you're gone. So that is something I value.
And what motivates you? What keeps you going? Why are you singing? Why are you wanting, you know, to use music as a form to address social issues, you know, and so on? What motivates you?
Okay. What motivates me as a person, I would say, is the desire to be excellent.
Right.
Well, when I say that, I just mean that I would like to be better every day. Like today, I want to be better than I was yesterday. And I want that to be consistent. I always say that I want my hobby to be getting out of my comfort zone. Yeah, so that is something that motivates me. And it's because I also think that the only way that you can be successful is if you chase excellence instead of chasing success. So that said, what motivates me to do my music? It's the power that I believe music holds, because music has touched me in my own life. I've seen the power that music has over other people. And seeing that is something that I constantly see, something that I want to be a part of. And that means I constantly have to keep improving. I constantly have to seek to find meaning. I constantly have to keep trying so that I can be able to make something meaningful out of my music, which also seeks to living a life of purpose.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now I love the way you said there about chasing excellence instead of success. So to you, what does success mean to you? And as a leader with the band, what does leadership, you know, mean to you personally?
Okay. So to begin maybe with success, I would say success means living the kind of life that you would like to live, above everything else, above what other people would like for you. Success is achieving the goals that you have set for yourself and achieving the goals that you have set with other people.
Right.
Success is living a life of purpose, I would say so. For me as a leader, how I look at leadership, I think there are 2 parts to it.
Right.
And this also comes into play even with other people. So the first part of leadership is leadership of self, which I think comes before you would be able to lead other people. So for me, the first 3 things I always say to myself is be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and know your priorities. So those are the 3 components that I think garner to personal leadership. And After that, and only then, do I think I would be able to lead other people. And coming to lead other people would mean taking responsibility of the team. You know, taking responsibility, taking accountability, inspiring communal responsibility, shared responsibility among you and the members of the team. And I would say that is a very big component of Southeast Africa, where everybody is responsible for something. Everybody plays a part, and everybody knows that for the team to be a success, everybody must play their part. That also means inspiring synergy, people to like work together with, like, to build teamwork and communal effort, you know. And I suppose the last part of it would be I've forgotten what I wanted to say.
No, it's okay. So for you as a leader, there was a lot you said in there, a lot actually. So for you as a leader, what are some of the personal qualities that you think you need to have as a leader?
Yeah, a leader needs to be somebody who is proactive.
Right.
Yeah, you must always be ready to act. A leader must always have the goal in your mind. You must always know what the goal is for your team, and you must always be able to inspire that goal into your team. Actually, that's the last thing I wanted to say. Your team must always be knowing the vision. At every one point, it is the role of the leader to remind the team and to keep pushing them towards attaining that vision. A leader also needs to be very humble, and they need to be very respectful to the people who they work with, their team members or the people who they're leading. A leader needs to be somebody who is very patient and understanding, because at every one point people have shortcomings, and just as much as you understand your own shortcomings, you need to understand other people's shortcomings and be able to accommodate them. You know, we are human beings, so we are not perfect. And what else would I say? A leader needs to be somebody who is friendly, somebody who the people can relate to, and someone who the people can be able to look up to, somebody they can be able to understand, somebody who they can be able to connect with. So it's not just a thing of you're looking above the people, but you're sharing something with them. Yeah.
Wow, you know what? There's so much in there. We need to have a breather. So we'll be right back. A masterclass, that last segment, you know, your definition of leadership, the qualities, you know, you feel a leader must have, and even your definition of success, what success means to you and what you value. You know, I just love the fact that for you it's about life, and like what you said, you know, experiencing grief, and some experiences have made you realize that it's about living a life of purpose, and like you said, striving to be excellent. So now I know that already had a lot of life lessons there, but you're still young, but I believe you have a lot, you know, in there you want to share. What are some of the life lessons that you have experienced to date that you'll be able to share with a young person, or the younger version of Maria back in Mombasa, maybe a 7-year-old, you know, Maria say, you know what, Can you share with us some tips or life lessons?
I guess the first one is for dreams, because I'm imagining my 7-year-old self is so full of dreams which you think is impossible to achieve. I would say every million-mile journey begins with a footstep. So if you have a dream, you need to take the first step, which is the first step. You need to make the step towards achieving your dreams. You need to make that first step, no matter how scary it is. You must just make that first step. If you want to be a musician, go and sing. If you want to be a doctor, go and read. If you want to be a teacher, go and do what that needs to take, you know. If you want to do anything in life, do it. You don't know if you're going to succeed in it, but you need to make that step. That's the only way you'll ever know. Another lesson I would say is life is fickle. Today it's here, tomorrow it's gone. Take advantage of life. Take advantage of all the opportunities it gives you. Take advantage of, I wouldn't say take advantage of the people in your life, but I would say value the people in your life. Do not take them for granted. And the next lesson I would say I've learned out of life is be passionate. The most beautiful things in life are born out of passion. I would also say don't lose hope, because good things, they all come to an end. And bad things, they don't last forever. And also change is inevitable. So it's like, we must just accept that life is fluid. So don't try to control it, rather try and adapt. You know, try to always be adaptive of life, be receptive to the changes that life brings, whether it's negative or positive. And I suppose the last thing that I would say is choose courage over fear.
Right.
Choose courage over fear. I always say that maybe if you choose courage, you might have something to lose, but you'll definitely have something to gain. But if you choose fear, you definitely have something to lose.
Wow.
Yeah.
You saw me right in there. I'm in school. You're the student here, not me, but you're making me write so much. So my final question is, I know you use music as a big platform. You know, you're singing, your group, what you're studying, and the message in the song to address social, you know, change, and you're hoping, you know, it will, yeah, and I'm sure it is in one form or the other. What other issues for you personally means a lot to you that you would like to see something done about, or you're just interested, even if though it might not be you doing it, and what are some of the solutions, just very quickly?
Okay. At the forefront of my mind, I would say is the issue of gender inequality and gender-based violence. I would say that comes to the forefront of my mind because I'm a woman. I'm a black woman. I'm a woman from Kenya. I guess that intersectionality of identity is very, it's very complex, especially in today's African context. We're in a world where women have been constantly trying to get a voice and trying to make their own place in society. We have been trying to be our own people rather than being defined by society. That's a very important thing that I see, and I feel like the more that I grow up, the more I realize how important it is to think about this as a woman and how it impacts other women in society. How does my life as a musician, how does my life as Maria, as a student, as an ethnomusicologist, how does that reflect on my identity as a woman? How does this reflect to the struggle of women and equality? How does this speak to everything that I've just spoken about? If I speak about gender-based violence, here in South Africa, it's a very, very big, very, very big problem. And I think what I appreciate is how there is a lot of, it has been spoken about very vividly. It's a conversation that is actively had in society. I appreciate that because it's not actively had in Kenya. I think that the voices of women who are abused and the voices of women who have been in situations of rape, people who are going through sexual harassment, people who are going through abuse in their own homes, whether it's physical abuse and all this, these are things which are hardly spoken about as much as they need to be spoken about. The thing that I think needs to happen is people to realize that what is life without a woman?
Right.
What is life without a woman? If you ignore the problems of a woman, you're ignoring the problems of society. I'm not saying that men are not important in society, but I think that women are a big part of the backbone of society. Part of society's evolution process, especially here in Africa today, is understanding that value that women have. And in fact, it is also not a false fact to say that there are more women than men, population-wise.
Very much so. Very much so.
So definitely something, at least especially in Kenya, because I think here it's a conversation that is being had. It is something that needs to be had in Kenya.
Right.
There are a lot of people who cannot speak up for themselves, and it really pains me to see that. From my own experiences as a woman, I have seen how people are easily abused and they cannot speak up for themselves, so that is not okay. On the aspect of women equality, it's a question of how much a woman has to really shine for her to be seen, you know, how much effort a woman needs to put for it to be seen, you know. And myself, I want to be part of the narrative of a woman who literally stands on her own 2 feet. I want to be a part of that narrative to inspire other women to realize that you can do this. You don't need anybody, you need yourself. If you have yourself together and if you support other people around you, everything will be well. And it would be so amazing if women could also come together and support each other, because I think society pits women against each other based on the fact that society is generally against women. I wouldn't want to put it like that, but it's generally just how it is. So women need to really come together and support each other. And maybe that will play a part in changing the narrative, or at least it will at least give women a solid place within themselves. I myself am proud to be a woman. I would say as I grow up more and more, I come to realize that I'm a feminist by the mere fact that I'm a woman who wants to make a title for herself, who wants to make a name, who wants to make a meaningful life for herself, and who is fighting against all these things actively and constantly in her own personal life. That is something that I would really like to inspire other people. Yeah.
Wow. Deep. And, you're quite right with all you've said. The gender-based violence, across Africa, is sad, and, there's a lot being done, but like you said as well, there's a lot more that needs to be done in certain countries like Kenya, and for me as well in Nigeria and some other parts of, Africa. And, it's just so mind-blowing, that we're still dealing with all these issues, and hopefully some of the solutions, some of the groups that are working in that field are coming up with will start making more difference. And some of what you're saying in terms of women supporting each other will make a difference. And sometimes we need to hear it, between us. And I think as well, maybe just to add to what you said, we need to get our males, our boy child, to hear this, most of the time, so that they understand, what is happening. Wow, that's all we've got time for. I really, really, really wanted to go on, but I'm afraid we've run out of time, and we will want to come back, at some point to meet your group, the band.
Yes.
Shout out to the band.
Shout out.
Southeast Africa. And just to hear more, about you guys, what more you're doing, how we can get you supported. Because like you said, how can you make this more professional and be able to earn a living, out of it. So thank you. We celebrate you. We celebrate Saudi. Oh gosh, I almost got it. I was going to pronounce it
Southeast
Africa. And all what you're doing, using music as a platform to address social change and impacting lives positively. You might think you're doing nothing, but you are. You make people feel happy. You make people at that time forget maybe, their problems. You give them hope, through your songs. So we celebrate you. We honor you. So Maria, I can't wait to keep hearing more of your story, and we wish you all the very best on your band. Can't wait for you to finish your masters and to see what next, where next you're going. So in conclusion, I want you to just give a word of encouragement. I know there's been a lot you've said to me now, and I know our peeps are listening and watching. So I want you to just speak directly to anyone you want to speak to out there. Just words of encouragement.
Okay. I suppose maybe the first word of encouragement I would give is to all the artists out there. Every dream is valid. Whatever vision you have for your art, you should take it, you should go for it. Whatever dream you have, you can achieve it. I will also give maybe a message to any young person who's listening, and especially any young African person. Value your identity. I think that is something that I'm coming to learn is so important today, especially in a world which is so Western dominated. Let's appreciate our African values. Let's appreciate our African selves. Let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate each other. Let's celebrate the diverse cultures that exist here in Africa. Never give up on your dreams. And for any woman out there, stand tall and be proud. It is so hard to be a woman, but it is the most beautiful thing ever. And I suppose to everybody who's listening, don't give up on life.
There was a lot of people you were speaking to there. And that's what I was writing. The artists, the young people, the women. Wow. Thank you for all you've said. I don't want to repeat all what you've said, and you guys know you need to go and replay because there was so much. This was a masterclass by Maria, one-on-one masterclass. Thank you for your time. And, we wish you all the very best. And yeah, we will come back. Is that okay to speak to you and your team?
Yes, it will.
Sounds of Africa.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys, well, that's all we've got time for. And yes, you've heard Maria. There was so much in there. We will be sharing their social media handle at the end of the program. So please support them, go and watch them. Subscribe to the Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever they're on. But we will be sharing the details, at the end of the program. So please do support them wherever they're performing. Support them. That's what this is about. Through buying their music, their albums, attending their events, giving them words of encouragement, sharing their Facebook page. Yeah, this is all what this is about, because they are indeed impacting lives positively. That's all we've got time for. And this is Dr. Mama K signing off, saying stay safe. Remember, God is love. And I'll just say bye-bye in Swahili again.
Kwaheri.
Kwaheri. You have to say it too.
Yes. Kwaheri.